So KwaZulu-Natal Premier Thami Ntuli is set to be sworn in today, and the ceremony will be followed by the announcement of MECs that will form part of the provincial cabinet. It remains interesting as to how Ntuli will navigate around issues of proportionality and representation. For the first time, the government of KwaZulu-Natal is made up of a block of parties such as the ANC, the IFP, the DA, and the NFP. The UMkhonto WeSizwe Party is now the official opposition in the province. Let's now speak to independent political analyst Mpumelelo Phungula on KZN's political stability. Mpumelelo, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us. I think even just reading that intro, it really grabs you, because on one end, you're speaking about a coalition of various political parties that have come together to technically outmaster, outsmart the main political party that got the majority of the votes, that is UMkhonto WeSizwe political party. What do you read into this? That the party that garnered most of the votes will be sitting in the opposition benches?
Yes, morning, Aldrin, to you and the viewers at home. It is quite a complex process. It's uncharted territory for us in KZN. And look, democracy is said to be the rule by the majority. And we all know that in KZN, the party that got the single most votes is the MK party, the newly formed MK party. But I think it's going to be crucial for people to know and understand that in order for a party to govern, they need 50% plus one. And so the MK did not get 50% plus one. Therefore, we are in the situation that we find ourselves in, where a couple of parties have coalesced and formed a partnership that takes them to a situation where they can together form the government of KwaZulu-Natal, which relegates the MK party to the opposition seats. So, yeah.
Yeah, and again, I want to go back to this part, because the former president, during one of the press briefings over the weekend, spoke about what democracy is, and the language that he used was isiZulu, intando yabaningi. So intando yabaningi was that the MK political party will be the government of the day. But as you've clarified now, is that with our electoral system, you must gain 50% plus one to have that outright majority. Do you think that the MK party should take some level of responsibility for how they approach the negotiation process?
Certainly, Aldrin. I think all parties that are part of our political dispensation need to play a very constructive role in helping to develop our democracy. We're still a relatively new democracy, and already we're being thrown into a situation where we need to get familiar with coalition governance. We know that it has been introduced in other parts of the country for a while now, and at local government, they've not been working as well as we would have liked them to. So it's very crucial that political parties play a more active role in the education of, in the civic education of the voters. And also, I think we should not just leave it to them, but also active citizenry is required at this moment. The civil society also needs to come in and help educate people, understand the whole system. It's quite a very complex system, Aldrin, even for some of us who've studied political science. So I think we really need to be a bit more kinder to the people, especially the layman. People on the ground also have not had the opportunity to get an education around these complex issues. So yeah, I feel there's definitely a need for political parties to play a more responsible role, even in how they communicate to the public, especially in the context where the political environment is as charged as it is here in KZN, and with a lot of people feeling that the MK party should be the one that's governing, since a majority of them voted for the MK party.
What are the streets of KwaZulu-Natal looking like this morning from where you've travelled, considering again that over the weekend the police commissioner Thami Ntuli saying that more police officers have been deployed in the province. We understand that around 400 additional public order policing have been deployed. Is there any sense of tension that you can feel when you move around the province?
I think the province is quite calm, I would say, but certainly I've heard quite a lot of people complain that they are looking to, that they'll be governed basically by a coalition that they didn't really vote for in their numbers. But more than that, I think the situation is relatively calm, and I think we trust also the leadership of Brigadier Mkhwanazi, who's the Commissioner of Police here in KZN. We also trust that the people also who might be feeling aggrieved did listen to their leader, former President Jacob Zuma, saying that there's a need to exhaust all legal avenues that are available to them as a party. Remember, they are also contesting the results of the elections. They feel that they were robbed by the IEC. So I think, in as much as the political situation is one of there's been a lot of contestation, there still is, given that the results are being contested through legal processes. But I'd say the environment is quite calm, and then also the presence of the police, as you said, would also play a deterrent role.
Yeah. Then what do you think about the Premier-elect Thami Ntuli, and also how he would have to navigate this as well? Because on one end, as we said, that the UMkhonto WeSizwe political party secured most of the votes. And then on the other end, today he's supposed to be inaugurated. Dudu Zuma Sambulda, I want to go back to the tweet that she sent yesterday. There can be no inauguration of a KZN Premier, considering once again that Thami Ntuli will not only be a premier of members or people who have voted for the political parties that are part of the coalition, but is premier of the entire province and all of the people who live in their province.
I think the tweet is a bit irresponsible, but I think it's something that we've come to expect from Ms. Dudu Sambula Zuma. I think it's critical for us to take the message that was received from former President Zuma to say that there are legal processes that have been pursued, and so people must keep their calm and wait for those processes to unfold. Indeed, Mr. Ntuli will be the premier of all of us, both those that voted for the IFP and the rest of the coalition partners and the MK party. And I think that about his leadership, we will know that not so long ago in this province, power has changed from the IFP to the ANC, and that the ANC was growing quite rapidly in the province. But because of governance challenges and other issues, including factionalism within the ANC, we saw the ANC then losing votes again in KZN. This coincided with the rise of Mr. Ntuli, who's known as someone who's very strong on the ground, who's able to, much like former President Jacob Zuma, connect with people at grassroots. This saw the IFP in the last election make quite significant ground and take quite a lot of municipalities, and he's credited for many of those gains, and quite a lot of people consider him to have done a great job at local government. So and he's also known to have spearheaded also the negotiations for the so-called GNU between the ANC, the DA, and the IFP. I think they also roped in the NFP. So I think it's going to be there's a need for a crucial balancing act for him as the premier, because I don't think he's getting in on the mandate of the IFP. There'll need to be considerations of whatever negotiations that have taken part between and amongst the partners in the GNU. And I think for stability of not only the coalition, but also the political environment in the province, whatever discussions that have been had or agreements that have been reached between the coalition partners, I think transparency will be critical. The parties need to put out there whatever they agreed to, so that the public knows exactly what to expect and can also hold them to account. Because like nobody really knows what agreements have been struck, and we do not want a situation where we see the similar sort of instability as has been seen in other parts of the country at local government level.
Thami Ntuli is, of course, a member of Salga because he was the mayor of KwaZulu-Natal local district municipality. But now that he becomes premier, he's going to relinquish that position. He's also going to relinquish the position of the Salga chairperson in the province. But obviously with that position as well, he comes with a lot of knowledge around a service delivery at a local level. I wonder whether there will be any spillover from this coalition that would affect, for instance, a metro like eThekwini, where we've seen now that Mxolisi Kaunda has been recalled and he has been deployed to the NCOP.
Indeed, I think he's got quite a decent track record when it comes to local governance, and we trust that will have a positive spillover into like a lot of our municipalities. But fundamentally, as you've mentioned, the only metro in the province, eThekwini, we know that it's not in its best shape, and therefore we are hoping that his leadership will have, like you mentioned, a spillover effect on those municipalities, even though he'll be a leader at the provincial level. Yep. We're trusting that his leadership and experiences gained from Salga will help the province deliver basic services in a better way to the public here in KwaZulu-Natal.
Yeah. And the big question is also whether the coalition will be able to remain stable. It is 41 seats that have been secured by this coalition versus the 39 between the MK party as well as the EFF. Let's see what the future holds. But thank you so much for making time for us. Independent political analyst there, Mpumelelo Phungula, speaking to us about what's currently happening in KwaZulu-Natal. And of course, today, Thami Ntuli is set to be inaugurated as the premier of that province.